I recently bought this Aprilia RS457 to feature here on the channel because I think this is one of the coolest new beginner bikes out there right now. 270-degree crank, aluminum twin spar frame, and Aprilia looks and the sound and feel of a 660, but in a pint-sized package. What's not to love? But this motorcycle is not without some strange quirks. In today's X-Ray video, we're gonna take a deep dive on some of the small little features you may not know about this motorcycle and give you guys the ins and outs in case you're interested in getting this bike for yourself. But if you are interested in receiving this motorcycle, I'm giving it away on yammynoob.co. This is a super short sweepstakes. It's gonna end in early October. You've only got a couple of weeks to get entered and signed up to win. We're gonna pump out some amazing content with this machine, give you guys all the ins and outs of this motorcycle, and then one of you out there is gonna have it end up in your driveway. So head over to the website, become a member, stack up your entries. That's the best way to get your chances locked and loaded to win. But if that doesn't sound appealing, pick up a hat, a t-shirt, a hoodie, whatever you want, and every dollar you spend will be an entry to win, subject to a spicy multiplier we got going on the website. Now, let's take a look at one of the strangest features on this bike. The first thing I want to point out to you on the Aprilia RS457 is actually the rear sets. Now, I know I said it was a strange thing, but to me, the rear sets really are what set this motorcycle apart from the competition. You know, the fact that you got 3 bolts, they're all at slight off angle to each other, and the fact that it's just this curved piece of metal really makes this thing feel so much more upmarket. You see that the rear set also is the bolt that goes through the swing arm pivot there, and that just to me screams high quality. It screams sport bike. It's stuff that you don't really see that often. Now, it would make servicing the rear set a little tricky because it's gonna go through the swing arm bolt, but there is a good reason that they did that. While we're here, I also wanna point out something really unique about this engine is the fact that the engineers actually fully integrated the cooling circuit and the blow-by recovery circuit into the engine. That means that there's no external hoses on this block. Now that's really cool because it actually allows for a much cleaner look. And again, owing to this kind of upmarket spec here, you see we have the aluminum twin spar frame dangling the engine as a stressed member, the bolt through the swing arm right there, the 2 rear set bolts down there, and the fact that there's no hoses on the side of the engine makes this thing look awesome. The RS457 is truly a big bike presence kind of bike. The other thing that's kind of neat about the RS457 is that it only says 457 on the tail. Now, this motorcycle, as you guys saw in my first ride and review, has the same sound as a 660. It's a 270-degree throaty parallel twin. It's got the nice same bark that motor has, but the only place you're gonna see 457 is right here on the tail, and that number is actually really small on the tail too. So I think that they did that so that the bike would have very clear delineation between the 660 and the RSV4 models. This does not feel like a motorcycle that is diminutive. It doesn't feel like a bike that is fighting for its place in the market or it's pretending to be something it's not. It's just a great looking sport bike that says RS on the side, and it's so sick. Another thing I want to talk about here is the cockpit. I think this is where Aprilia is making a big difference over the competition. You see the triple clamp has these cutouts that look really upmarket. The suspension member here, the fork, while it's not adjustable, you do have the preload adjuster right there, but the overall fit and finish is really nice. You have this swoop for the handlebars off of the triple tree. That means that if you did want to get a more aggressive set of clip-ons, you would have to get a replacement triple tree, which is a bit of a bummer because a lot of people are going to want to track these and you're going to want to lower this. And so having to do that, kind of a bummer in my opinion, but overall a very well executed package. You'll also notice when we flick the key, you have the TFT display very, very similar to the 660 platform. So to me, with the sound that this bike makes and the look out of the cockpit, you know, if you didn't know what you were looking for, this really feels super upmarket to me. This is a great motorcycle. You'll notice as well too, the yellow marks here that you kind of find all over the machine. Those are quality control marks that people establish at the factories to make sure that critical bolts are fastened to the proper torque settings. Now, you'll notice that this bolt actually cleaned off with a little isopropyl alcohol. So if you did want to go through and actually clean off all the little yellow markers, it would be very easy. But to be honest, it's a great reference point for when you remove parts and put them back on. You just tighten it to where the paint lines up and you know that it's torqued to spec. It actually makes it pretty good. You'll notice here that obviously on the brake caliper bolts of this radial mounted bi-bree brake, they've got the paint markers there as well, the ABS and the speed sensors too, and yeah, the whole thing obviously has gone through QC. And for an Indian-made motorcycle, it's pretty darn good. Another interesting feature on this bike, talking about the brakes, is the fact that it has a single disc up front. You would expect if it's trying to have that big bike presence, it would go for a dual disc, but apparently the engineers tried a dual disc and the gyroscopic effect on the front wheel affected the handling too much because this motorcycle is so lightweight. So they actually stuck with one powerful front disc up front because that's more than enough for this bike. You'll see here the front fender also has a nice cutout, just adding to that stylish kind of element to the bike. The front nose of the bike looks just like any of the other RS products in Aprilia's lineup. It's got the same design language, and you actually have this little miniature cutout winglet here that is very stealth. You don't have, you know, a gaudy wing sticking out of the side of the bike because it's a beginner bike. It makes less than 50 horsepower. We don't need winglets. One thing that's kind of interesting is if you hit the key to remove the rear seat here, the rear seat comes off, right? Nice and clean packaging. No luggage loop like the RS660, but then the seat here is actually just resting on top of it. So you kind of see the lengths they've gone to, I guess, for weight reduction and simplicity, where the entire assembly for seat and rear seat is just on the pin here. There's no bolts that you have to take off. You know, on a vast majority of beginner sport bikes, you're gonna have 2 bolts for the seat, all that good stuff, but on the Aprilia, you just have 1 bolt, 1 pin, put it back on, it's ready to go. Now, this particular model did not come equipped with the quick shifter. That's a factory option, and that would go right here on this rod so that when you actually arm the lever, it'll do the quick shift, both up and down for you. If you're getting an RS457, then you would definitely want to get the quick shifter. I think it makes a big difference and will add a lot of the premium feeling to this motorcycle. I did think that the rear passenger pegs were a bit of an afterthought. This motorcycle can have them removed very easily, but these look a little ugly to my eye, and they don't really fit the vibe of the bike. They're just like tubular steel, like not really that good looking. I would pop these off immediately because I'm not even gonna put passengers on this bike. You see here more details of the no hose system. It's all contained inside of the block, giving it a super clean vibe. You do get an adjustable brake lever from the factory, which is pretty cool, so you can dial in the distance. The pull from the lever is pretty good. This is a very simple little master cylinder. I would definitely swap the pads because as you build pressure and grab on this lever, it starts to fade and starts to feel kind of weird over time. So a pad swap would be one of the first things I would do to this machine if I were gonna keep it long term. So a quick note about the Aprilia 54 World Title sticker. They've had this sticker for quite some time. Aprilia has not won a world title in quite a while. It looked like in 2022, Aleix Espargaro, running in 3rd in the MotoGP standings, might have clinched it as a dark horse title contender. And then I thought a fantastic marketing opportunity for Aprilia would have been to send out 55 stickers to everybody to update their bikes with. But sadly, that didn't happen. And as everybody knows, Pecco Bagnaia won the 2022 World Championship. I really love the fact that the wheels are color matched on the 660 platform for the first year. I believe one of the colorways had mismatched wheels. One was black and one was red. And I just think that wheels should be the same color. I don't really like the look of a mismatched color wheel. And having them the same color definitely looks better in my opinion. The exhaust system is tucked away in quite a bit of plastic, but it's actually one single member. So if you wanted to get an exhaust system on this motorcycle, you're gonna have to do a full system, and I don't think anybody's developed one just yet. So owners of an RS457 are going to have to live with slightly quieter exhausts than they might want. But I'll tell you what, with the 270 crank and the bark that this thing has, it would sound sweet with a pipe. You would not know it's a little bike, absolutely not. Check out this swing arm too. This thing looks great. This is a far cry from the very basic, simple, rectangular shape that a Ninja 400 has. This is a awesome looking swing arm and definitely looks more purposeful. The rear suspension is non-linkage, just like the 660. So the geometry and overall understanding of this motorcycle, although Aprilia says that 457 in fact was not designed on top of the 660 platform, there's a lot of similar design cues here. One thing I haven't heard many reviewers talking about is the fact that this throttle is very quick turn. That's about all the throw you have on it, and that makes it super spicy and fun to use. The Yamaha R3 specifically has a very long throttle throw. This thing, boom, it's right there. It feels like a quarter turn throttle, like on a proper track bike. It's a lot of fun. Back over here on the frame and subframe, you'll notice that the subframe is bolted on. That's also a big change versus something like a Ninja 400, in which the entire frame is one piece, meaning that if you crash the machine, you're going to have to replace the entire frame if it gets bent up. This thing, if it crashes and the subframe gets bent, you can pop it off and put a new one on. It's vastly superior to have this over one single piece, but it's more expensive to manufacture. The engine has a bore and stroke of 69 to 61.1 millimeters, so it's not over square, and it's not a screamer of an engine. It's designed to have accessible, usable power, which is kind of different than the 660, which is designed to really rev out. Now, by their design, you know, 660 and the 457, the parallel twins, they're not really designed to be supremely high revving engines. There's not really too much rev ceiling for a parallel twin. It's not a multi-cylinder engine like a 4-cylinder, so the fact that this thing revs to close to a little over 10,000 RPM is pretty good. We also have here these cutouts and vents in the design of the fairing here. Just a small touch to make this bike a little bit more upmarket. I hope you enjoyed this detailed look at the Aprilia RS457. Go back yesterday and watch my first ride and review. I took this bike on a nice long ride, told you guys everything I thought about the way it actually goes down the road, the power it makes, the braking, the handling, and spoiler alert, it's pretty darn good for a beginner bike. I think it's one of the finest A2 compliant motorcycles you can go and get, and this thing is just an absolute peach. Don't forget it's a giveaway bike on yammynoob.co. Make sure you go and get yourself signed up and get entered to win this machine. And just a few days after this one's gonna get given away, we're gonna do another beginner bike you guys are not gonna want to miss. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later. Boys, you've made it to the end of this video. There's no more content, but there is a vast catalog of Yammy Noob content you can keep watching. And in fact, if someone in the comment section could actually crunch those numbers and tell me how long you could continuously watch Yammy Noob, I would love to know. It's probably months, if not years. And while you're at it, go to yammynoob.co and get signed up to win this RS457. You guys already know what's going on. You know the deal. If you're a longtime fan of giveaway bikes, head to the site, get entered to win. Keep watching Yammy Noob.